Good morning, everyone. I hope you and your families are doing well. In today's halacha, we continue with halachot of basar b'halav, and let's talk about eating meat after dairy. So if you had cheese, the halacha requires that you will first chew like bread, so anything that is going to clean your mouth. Then you should wash your mouth, and you should wash your hands to make sure that you don't have any cheese that is left on your fingers. If you happen to have cavities inside your mouth, in this situation, you should brush your teeth to make sure that there are no traces, no residue of cheese inside, and you can have meat right away. This is what the halacha says. If you had milk beforehand, so there is no real trace inside your mouth, and it shouldn't be also a problem with your hands, so it's sufficient to just wash your mouth with something else, so you could drink something in between, and you are allowed to have meat right afterwards. If you have dentures, so a denture, technically speaking, may have also something inside. Do we have to have ag'ala? Do we have to wash it in a way that we have to kosherize the denture? The halacha is no, it's not necessary. It's enough to just wash it well, make sure that there is no trace of cheese inside, and there will be mutar to have meat right afterwards. According to the Kabbalah, we should wait at least an hour between dairy and meat. So if someone is following this minhag and he wants now to change, it's too hard for him, he wants to be able to eat meat right away. So it depends. If he knew that it was a chumrah, in this situation he needs to do hatarat nedarim by the rabbi and make sure to do it the right way, to remove the neder he had, and only then to have the meat right away. If he did not know that it was a chumrah, if he felt that it was the halacha, so he did it by mistake because he felt that this is the way we hold, he does not even need to do hatarat nedarim. He can just, in one shot, decide to, from now on, to have meat right after dairy, once he filled the conditions that we mentioned before in the beginning. Now let's talk about another halacha today, which is baking with dairy. So the halacha says that we are not allowed to bake dough with dairy inside, because we may forget that this bread or this cake, whatever it is dairy, and we may eat it with meat. However, in the halacha we find two possible heterim, two possible permissions. Number one is, if you make a siman, you make a recognition in the shape of the bread or the cake you're going to bake, and that will be obvious that it's a dairy one, that will be mutar. Number two possibility, if you bake a small quantity that you can finish up by the day, the same day. So you won't forget with time and you won't know that it's dairy. These two situations are allowed to bake anything that you want with dairy. If you did not fulfill those conditions, you are not allowed to use it. You're going to have to throw it in the garbage, and you're not even allowed to sell it to a goy. Because by selling it to a goy, he may come to sell it to a Jew, and the Jew is going to make that mistake to eat it with meat. Unless, Chacham Ovadia says, if you cut the whole thing in half, and you see that there is a siman right there, then in this situation, the person who's buying the bread is going to wonder, why it's cut in half? And he's going to realize that because it's dairy. There is also another halacha, and I'll finish with this. If the bread that you make is sweet, because it's not the derech to eat sweet bread with meat, in this situation, technically speaking, it's mutar to do it with dairy, because the fact that the taste is sweet is sufficient to be a heker and to remember that it's something that you will have with dairy. So that's what we recommend to do. Also, another thing, chocolate. You can make chocolate with dairy as long as it's marked. That's what we call a siman. Because sometimes the chocolate, we don't know, even if it's a dark chocolate, maybe it's dairy, maybe it's not dairy. So as long as you have a marking, and that's what usually they do today, that it's a halav Israel or halav in general, then it would be mutar to make it. Have a great day.